Hello and welcome to Even It Makes. My name is Marina and this is my knitting podcast where I talk everything that I have been knitting in the last month. I have for this episode, I have two finished objects. I have almost done whip and a whip that I just started and something that I'm planning to do next. I'm going to start by one of my finished objects, which is what I'm wearing, which is the square neck camisole by Helena Beppa from Garnock Slicked. I was really interested in knitting this camisole, but I have never knitted a camisole and also never made a garment on 3mm needles, so I was a little bit afraid, I can say that. But now that I made it, I already bought a yarn to make a second one, so I'm very excited about that. I really love this garment. It is very flattering, and the square neck I think fits very well with the type of body that I have, and the 3x3 ribbing make it very elastic, so it can shape very well to the body shape and be quite a negative ease. I also like a lot in relation to the construction the double knitted edges. This was the part of the pattern that I think took the longest to be made, but it was completely worth it. It gives a very finished look into the garment, and I'm already looking to observe this in some other camisoles or some other garments that I might make to have a more neat finishing. In relation to the construction, this is knitted top down. I started by knitting the straps and then knitting the top part of the body into the armpits part, and with some increases, and then joining in the round and knitting like a two. The pattern has optional for waist shaping, but I did not want to do that. For me, it usually does not make a lot of difference, and yeah, it is a very simple camisole to knit. It doesn't have a lot of complicated stuff. Also, I like how the increase is made here, and generally it was very simple to follow the pattern. I just had a little difficulty in relation to the double knitted edges. I have never made work with double knitting before. I don't have any finished cardigan. This is very common to use for the bottom bands in cardigans. I don't have any finished one. I have one that I will talk later, but I have some difficulty to start with the double knitted edge, but thanks to some lovely people that post some very helpful videos here on YouTube, I could solve all my doubts. I will link the videos that I use under. There is one for one of the camisoles for my favorite things knitwear that it explains how to do the double knitted edges. I use for this one, and it has another one that I'm using on how to make the double knitted edge for a cardigan. I will link those down below. Additionally, in relation to this garment, I use Hietegarn Cotton Lana in the shade 212, and this is this lovely blue yarn I bought in a small yarn shop in Kolding in Denmark. I was there to get married last year to do my civil wedding, and I decided to buy some yarn to celebrate since I was in Denmark, and I bought some balls of this. I initially bought thinking about making one of the t-shirts by Petit Knit, or either the Sunday tee or the Anchors tee, but I was not visualizing any of those t-shirts in this color of yarn. I was visualizing them in maybe a more muted yarn, so I decided to make the square neck camisole. It is a yarn that its fingering weight is 50% cotton and 50% wool, so it has the properties of both sides. The wool provides some elasticity, which will give some memory and make the garment last more, especially for being a negative ease garment. And the cotton provides more breathability. I used this in a very warm day at work, and I thought it was very comfortable to wear, so I would recommend this to make some summer garments. For following the pattern, I only did one change, and it was also kind of by accident. I knitted the straps to the size saying in the pattern, but I did the double knitted edges quite tight because I was a little bit afraid of losing my stitches. So it ended up getting a little bit smaller than it was supposed to be, and I don't feel it catching anywhere. I was afraid that it was going to get a little uncomfortable on the edges here on the arms, but I don't feel anything uncomfortable. And additionally, I know that for many camisoles, they can stretch with time, and many people end up cutting the straps and doing some kitchen stitch, so they can continue using the garment so you get to a shorter size. And since I knit a little bit shorter than it was supposed to be, I think it might last long. And yes, if another thing that I always like to think about my garments is if I wouldn't knit those again. In relation to this, yes, definitely. I want to have more of those camisoles. I told some of my friends on the knitting club that I was very interested on knitting one of those in a more basic color, but now I'm thinking more maybe a pink. So maybe on the next episode I will have something cast on, but I don't have any plan to cast on now. Now, a few days after I finish this camisole, I finished another garment, which is a small t-shirt. This is a self-directed tee. I follow the instructions in a book called Knitting from the Top by Barbara G. Walker. I will link it down below. The first chapter is about how to draft a raglan sweater, and I follow the instructions in relation to that. So I cast some stitches to cover the back part of my neck, and then I knit a flat to increase until we reach a little below those bones here in the front. And after that I cast on some more stitches to join the round and continue until we get to below the armpits, and then I separate the sleeves from the body, knit the body as a two. And then for the sleeves I decided to just do directly the cast off after I pick up the stitches for the sleeves. It is also a quite breathable garment, and it's made, I made this more because I wanted to test the instructions of this book of knitting from the top, and I was also wanting to use this yarn. I bought this yarn last year, I think summer or spring last year. It's been I would say about 1 year, and I bought this to make a mangrove tea by Trust the Mojo. It is a very lovely t-shirt. It has a type of leaf pattern, but I end up having some issues. I mean, the pattern is bottom up, and as many knitters, I prefer to knit top down. But I wouldn't even say that that was the biggest issue. The main one was that I did not like working with this yarn, with this pattern. This is Linash by Lana Grossa. It is, let me check my notes here. It is 40% viscose, 30% cotton, 20% linen, and 10% nylon. And it is a DK. I would say it's more on the heavy side of the DK yarns, and it is made for more cotton. It is a yarn that is made more for summer. It is very soft. It is very soft on the skein. It is very soft to knit with, and the main issue for me is that it is very slippery. Already on the skein, the yarn tends to unmade itself, and this produces and sometimes this, like, I brought this to a trip in the beginning of this year and to try to knit another garment, and then I was trying to make a toasted tea back in the beginning of the year, and I brought some skeins of this yarn to my trip, and it was also very bad. The main issue was that it wasn't mating itself on the skein, so it was not, it would be getting tangled in my bag, and then I would need to spend a lot of time detangling it before I could knit it. And also when I knitted it, because it's so slippery, I would be ending up losing many of the stitches or letting them drop, that's what I mean. And this ended up making the process not very good. I also had some issues with this one to make in relation to this. But in relation to the instructions in the book, they were very clear. I could follow everything. For the raglan increases, I choose to make with yarn overs, so it is a little bit open here. And for the edges on the sleeves and on the neck, I did an I-cord edging with casting on 2 stitches. And for the bottom, I did this folded stockinette, so like I knit a few rows of stockinette, I think 3 or 4, and then I did 1 row of border stitches, and then I did some more stockinette, and then I sew here. It is this bottom part is not very neat, but many of those shorts I just stuck on the pants, and also with blocking it got quite okay, so it is still usable. I did this, I think about 2 weeks ago that I finished, and I already use it. I enjoyed this. I would try to self-draft other type of tops from this book, but I would not buy this yarn again. I saw some reviews or comments on the Ravelry page for the yarn, and many people actually enjoy working with that, for the reason that I don't. That is like very easy, very slippery to knit with. So if you enjoy this type of yarn, I would recommend that. But if you, like me, afraid of losing your stitches or letting them drop, then I would say like pass through it. Other than that, I like the final object, and I think I will be using a lot this summer. since we are talking about raglans, I have a whip now. This is my Frank cardigan. This is a whip from last year. Another thing that I brought from last year to this year. And this is from the Santa's Garm DIY to 2210 magazine. I will write here on the screen and also on the description if you want to check. This is one of those magazines from Santa's Garm that you can buy when you buy some of their yarn, and they usually have very nice patterns, very lovely patterns, and it comes with 10 to 12 patterns, and the price is quite affordable. For me it was like €8.50, and I think it is very worth it. And in this magazine they have they call Frank cardigan. They also have a Frank sweater, and I wanted to really make the cardigan because of the ribbing details. It has a very long twisted rib in both the body and the sleeves. But when I was knitting it last year, I got very stuck on the twisted ribbing. It was taking too long. I was finding a little tedious to do that, so I abandoned the project after I had done the body, which for many knitters that do cardigans, doing the body flat with the alternative purl rules, it's the toughest part. For me, it was when I reached the ribbing, and then I just abandoned. And after I finished those 2 garments, I had ordered some yarn, but I was still waiting for the yarn to arrive. So I decided to continue on this. I had a little of a sweater energy. After working with 2 summer yarns, I was like, oh, I need to work with some wool yarn, with some warm yarn. So I decided to continue with that. And very soon I finished both sleeves. I put in those knitting cords here. I still did not do the Italian bite off because I want to block it before and see how much it increases. With my gauge swatch, this yarn increases quite a lot, I would say. So I'm not so I think this might be enough. In case it's not, I can still increase a little. For the body, I decided to let as it is, as much as I felt like doing, to a certain length that I usually like my cardigans. And now I'm doing the double knitted edge. I started doing I think yesterday, and I'm already this. It's not a lot, but it's a good work. So I am doing first on the left side, which is the one that the buttons will be sewed to, and then after finishing this part, then I probably need to check another tutorial on how to make the buttonholes. In relation to this pattern, since it is a pattern from like a magazine or a book, they are usually not as complete or not as big as something that you buy at Ravelry, the PDF file. Those patterns are usually way more complete, and they explain more about which stitches to use. They give more tips, they sometimes have links and so on, while on magazines and books they tend to be, also due to the printing and to the limitations in relation to the number of pages that they can have, they try to be a little more concise. And that's something that I can clearly also notice with this pattern. Like many of the things I like on similar patterns, for example by Betty would have way more information. And even though this is quite a large pattern, I think on the magazine it's 4 or 5 pages. In many digital files this would be almost 10 pages. That's what I imagine. So, but other than that, I don't know. I don't have that much memory. I was so traumatized by this twisted ribbon edge last year that I was not having that much thought about the yarn or about my experience knitting this, but after I took the sleeves they went very fast and I'm really enjoying this yarn. This is Kränke So Well Recycled. Kränke is a German yarn brand and they are also the owners of, the group is the owner of BC Garn. Also from BC Garn, I don't know if they have other yarn brands on the same network, but this yarn coming in those hanks, but I use it, I made the cakes to knit it, and as of right now I still have, I think I bought 5 hanks, so 500 grams, and I have and I still have 2 left, and now I'm on the bottom bench of the cardigan, so I will probably have some left. Maybe I'll do some beanies. That's my plan. But returning to the yarn itself, this is a very interesting yarn. It is, I would say, quite unique. It is a Aran weight yarn made of 65% wool and 35% acrylic, and as the name say, it is recycled. It is made of recycled garments that are actually 60% wool, and they say on their webpage that those garments have multiple compositions, but they look for garments that were actually 60% wool. And then it has some tweed effect. I don't know how much you can see in the camera, but the yarn has some tweed effect, some speckles. So they estimate that this would be in them 65% wool and 35% acrylic, but it's more of an estimation than an exact measurement. And to knit with this yarn, it is it is a different experience than I was expecting. Touching the hank and also touching the cake, it feels soft, but not the softest. It feels a little rough, like this more woolly type of feeling, but it knits very soft. The knitting here goes very soft on my fingers and on the needles, and the stitch definition is quite also, I think, very good. And it has a completely different effect. What I think is, like, I bought this online, and the reason why I bought this specific yarn to do this garment was that I was looking for the original garment uses, I think, double Sunday, which is the decay merino base from Sandnes yarn, and the Team Silk mohair. But I was not very much into using Merino plus mohair because I thought that would be maybe too warm and I would have used less. So I wanted to use just Aran or worsted weight yarn as a replacement. And I ended up finding this yarn online at the shop, and it was very affordable. It cost less than €6 for one hank of 100 grams and I think 200 meters. And as I told you, I'm using like the third hank now. So it is extremely affordable. And so I decided to buy this. I bought online more for being a cheap person, not that much because I was like, oh my god, this yarn seems so interesting. All knitters podcasts are talking about that. No, it was just for being cheap. And I think if I would have found this in a store and touched it, I would have been like, no, I will pass. But I'm happy that I bought this and that I'm knitting with it because it knits very well. And I think I would do other garments with this. It has a little of this more woolly type of feeling, so maybe like a color work would be very nice to do with this. And I could also try all the colors, and it has those speckles, which is also something that I think produces a very nice effect. So yeah, I would recommend the yarn for sure. If you, as me, live here in Germany, this is extremely affordable. Cranky is a German brand, so I think it is for sure less than €6 per hank. And now returning to my jacket, this is also a raglan, and it has, as I told, this very long ribbing, which if you don't like to do twisted ribbing, I would recommend you to skip this part. But if you enjoy doing, go for it. But also it has the raglan lines. They are, I think, what is called a compound raglan. So the rate of increases is not the same at the sleeves and at the body. The most traditional way of doing a raglan, if you have never worked with one before, is to knit, is to do the increases in every second round or every second row if you're knitting flat. And you do those increases in every of the raglan lines, so you usually will have 4 raglan lines separating the body from the arms or from the sleeves. And in a compound raglan, this rate will be a little different. So sometimes you're going to increase, you're going to start with the traditional raglan weight, but after we reach a certain height here or a certain length, then you're going to increase less for the arms so they don't flare too much, and you're going to continue increasing for the body, or sometimes vice versa. You might increase for the body every 4 rounds, or you might increase for the while you increase for the sleeves every 2 rounds. So it has a little different ways of calculating that, and honestly, this, if you buy a pattern that has a compound raglan and that is graded for many different sizes. This is usually a very professional design. I would say a lot of math from the designer, so this put some extra points on for me. And yes, in relation to this jacket, she has also a compound raglan, and it produces a little of a more circular oval type of line here. I really like it. I hope it fits me very well. I'm now on the bottom band, so I expect to be finished with this until the next month and to have this blockage. I'm still not sure about which buttons I will put. I have some buttons here at home that I thrifted, like a small box of buttons, but I'm still not sure that I have anyone that fits here. I think they are mostly very, very small to this bottom band, so I might go to a local shop and check it out and choose some for it. You only use S3, so I think it is fine. And I hope this will be a very nice cardigan. Also for the time that it took me to make, if you count my time letting this on the site, it is more than 1 year. So I hope it is very special. Now going to my next whip. This is a tube sock. I have some leftovers of sock yarn. I used this one specifically, it was from my auto sweater. I talk about it in a podcast. I also have a video of how I was styling it, and this is also featured on my everything that I knit in 2023. As always, I will link those down below if you want to check it out. But I work with that with some sock yarn from Fil Colonna, the Fil Colonna Vita, which is 80% merino and 20% nylon. It is a very soft sock yarn. I think for having this extra 5% of the merino, usually many sock yarns are 75 and 25% the proportions, and this one has this additional 5% of merino. My Ficolana Vitas are the orange one, the lavender, this more cold yellow, and this blue one. And then for this one, this is also from Hiataga. It's a bamboo sock yarn. I use this to make Deep the Tip Socks by Kutova Kika from her book last year, and I have some leftovers. This one is the one that I have less leftovers, so I think I will only use to do the ribbing on the sock. And then I have this white one and this brown one, and those are both from Lang Yarns. Is the Lang Yarns Yabo, and I used this to make my Alves socks last year. So it is a little of a memory sock, this one. It is also a very nice way of using my leftovers. I really love to use colored socks, so I'm very happy that I can do those stripes. And this is quite an easy project to do. It is just a tool. So I cast on 64 stitches, which is what I like to do the socks with. Then I did a few centimeters of 2x2 ribbing, and then I continued to knit in a two, and I'm changing the color of yarn every 8 and I will knit this until I reach a certain length that is enough for a pair of socks or 2 socks, and then I will work. I'm still not decided in the end either not the cuff or the toes, and then I will cut it and do the other toe and cuff, whatever I decided, and I will work on the afterthought heel. So yeah, this is how it's going. I still did not, I think this is the last color from this rotation, so after this I will return to repeat the white color. And this is a more like in between type of knit. Is more of a way of using my scraps and having a nice project from it. So it is not a lot of pressure to work on it. I'm also not putting a lot of pressure on myself. So this is going quite nicely, and I don't think I will have this done by the next episode, but maybe I'll have a little more rolls so we can check how much if I have maybe another repetition of this. It might be nice to check this out. So yeah, in relation to this, it's, as I told you, it's very simple to make. It's a nice way of working with the scraps, especially if you have a lot of small scraps of sock yarn. And now those were my whips that are a little bit bigger. I would say that you can see a little bit more, identify what they are. If I show this to you, you can say, oh, this looks like a sock, this looks like a cardigan. But I have another one here that still doesn't look like anything. I cast on this I think 2 days ago, and this is the Cumulus by Petite Knit, and I'm making with pure silk from Knitting for Olive in the shade Beauty, which is the recommended yarn from the pot, and I believe it's also the same shade that she uses in the sample. I bought this yarn directly from the Knitting for Olive website. They are based in Denmark, close to Copenhagen, and I live in Germany, so the delivery was very fast. I ordered in a Thursday, and it was here on Monday on the next week. So yeah, I just started to work with it. What I can say from the pattern from now is that it is a raglan t-shirt with the additional details that it is a v-neck. It has the soft v-neck. It is a raglan t-shirt with the additional details that it has the soft v-neck, and then also has the I-cord edging around. It is fingering weight. The original pattern is more like a summery garment made with pure silk. I think she also has a sample that is made with thin linen from Sandnes Garn, and it is also fingering weight, so also knitted on 3mm needle. And what I can say is that yeah, for now it's going okay. I was a little afraid of the yarn because when I was working with this other t-shirt with the very slippery yarn, I was very afraid of the silky yarn because I thought that the silk yarn would also be very slippery, but this pure silk from Knitting for Olive is slightly rough, it's slightly more tough to the touch, I would say. This is made of I'm trying to separate here. I don't know how well you can see, but this is made of 3 strands. They are not very they are very loosely applied together, so it is a little bit more tough. It is a little bit more rustic type of feeling on the fingers, and I'm not minding that. I'm finding this pretty good because as I told you, I was very afraid of this being very slippery and that I would lose all my states while working on 3mm needles. But yeah, for now I think I did like 6 rolls. So I don't have a lot of to say about this garment. I don't know if I will finish also by the next episode, but if I finish, then maybe I'll be wearing that, and I will have a little bit more to say about the yarn and the garment itself. But yes, another thing about this is that last year I had sewn a white t-shirt, and this white t-shirt became my most wore garment of last year, and I really wanted to knit a white t-shirt. I usually like to knit with more like colorful colors, and but this white t-shirt that I sewed, that was also like something that I also like to sew with more colorful fabrics, but also like it became my most worn garment. It is very versatile, so I also wanted to bring this versatility to the knitting and just knit a very simple white t-shirt. And I had a Cumulus tape for many years on my one day to-do list. So I'm happy that I'm finally taking and doing this project. And then those were my whips. I am very excited for the next month. It is still summer, but at the same time I also have a little bit of a sweater energy going on. I think as many knitters I am more like a sweater type of knitter, and this summer also here in Germany it is a very short summer. Some people will say that summer is the most beautiful day of the year because of how little it lasts. And until this year, like now in this last week, in the week before, that has been a little bit warmer, but it was having a lot of very heavy rains here, and the weather was not getting warmer. It didn't seem that it was going to have even this one day of summer for the year. So now it is a little bit warmer. I hope it doesn't get. Also, I hope it doesn't get this sticky, warm, complex feelings about the weather. But yeah, other than that, I'm very excited about my summer tops. As I told you, I already have another one cast on. So summer is going good on my knittings. And for other plans, my sweater energy, I decided to dedicate this time my sweater energy to my husband. I never made anything for my husband. So last year I sewed some knitting bags, some tote bags, and I sold those for my mother-in-law and for my sister-in-law. But now I'm kind of like, oh, I should have made something for my husband, and I should have knit him a sweater. And since he is extra large mini sweater measurements, I was already thinking like this is going to take quite a lot, and I am a little bit more of a process knitter, so I need to be entertained during this project. I need to have a project that I will enjoy working with it. So not only that it's a nice project for him, but also a nice project for me to work with. So I decided to work on the Storm Sweater Man by Petit Knit. This is a DK sweater. It is made with one strand of Bergint from Santa Sky. I bought this color shade. I don't know how much you can focus on that, but I bought the color 9581. This is from the Petit Knit, one of the Petit Knit colors. It is a olive green color. And this yarn, it is, I had already worked with Bergint before. I know that some knitters don't like to work with that because it is very rough, and it's not like merino soft. So many knitters don't like to work with that. Also might cause some sensibility to the skin, but I did not have that much issues working with that. Also, I gave the ball that I had left to my husband so he could have like shake on his neck and on his wrist to see if he wouldn't have any type of reactions, and he told that was pretty okay. So yes, in relation to this, it is, I like working with that. It has more of a woolen feeling. It is not for the people that only like to work with the very soft yarn. But other than that, it's also relatively affordable. I also think this one skein of this is less than €6, which I consider affordable. I don't know. Nowadays, I consider this affordable. Also important to add that. But one skein is less than €6. It has 91 meters per 50 grams, and for this men's storm sweater for my husband's size, which is the extra large on the measurements, uses 18 skeins of yarns, like 900 grams of yarn. And I'm just like, I use like half of this for a sweater, and I think like the thickest sweater that I can make would use like half of this, or maybe 500 grams, I think. But yeah, it is very difficult for me. So at the Bergint, it is relatively affordable, so those 18 balls of yarns would have been way more expensive if it would have been like a merino mohair combination, for example. And I also don't think my husband would have liked a lot to have a merino mohair sweater other than a wool, since he found the wool quite okay to shake on his neck. So yes, I did not start this yet. I did the gauge sort. I reached the gauge, and I did with the pattern from the back of the sweater, and I love this. It is so beautiful, and after I blocked the stitch definition got very good, which is also another thing about Bergint. It is a yarn that blocks very, like chef's kiss, it blocks very well. So if you see that your garment is not getting to the perfection that you want, block it with this, and it will look beautiful. And so yes, I'm very excited about this. It is a very nice one. I will probably cast on the project after I finish the bottom band on the cardigan. As of right now, I'm more focused on that. But also I say those things, I will not cast on a project. I will not buy any more yarn. I will continue with my old projects, and then as many knitters right here, I don't follow that. So we'll see. It was very fast to do the square for the gauge swatch, and also for my process knitting. The main advantage of like storm sweater, also the grid sweaters and those other types of sweaters, is that they have those different sections. So it is a little like working with the stripes to kind of wait for the next one. And also the storm sweater is just knits and purls. So the pattern is relatively easy to follow. So other than that, I am excited to work on that. The next pattern that I might cast on the next month is the Vanilla Skirt by Milena Juhola or Juhola. She's a knitwear design. She has some very nice pictures on Instagram. She's very creative. She uses a lot of different colors of yarns, and one of her patterns is a Vanilla Skirt. This is a DK, I would say. I think it is a DK weight skirt. It's sport weight skirt on the Ravelry page. And it is knitted in cotton yarn. She uses BC Garden Alba and in her main sample in the color black. It is a mini skirt. It has a V-cut in the bottom, and it also has some I-cord edging. I think the pattern is very nice, and I was very interested on doing on knitting a skirt. I think it is a relatively quite versatile garment. I can wear in summer, and also in winter I can maybe use with my sweaters and have a full knitting outfit, which is like the dream. So I decided to work on that. She lives in Switzerland, and she's using also a German brand yarn. So I got the same yarn from the recommended, is BC Garden Alba. I got on the same color as the sample, which is a black color. We checked the number 22. Number 22, the color. And this is on the website. They say it's organic cotton. It is mild and dyed in Turkey, and it is also how they say a soft cotton. And by touching the skein, I can say that it is indeed soft. Review of yarn, the neck test. Oh, maybe this for a skirt I should do like on my legs, but it is a very soft yarn. It is cotton, so cotton is generally a more affordable base than wool and mohair and alpaca. And I got the yarn from my size, which is the smallest size in the pattern. and I think I might cast on this in the next month, but I'm also not 100% sure. So yes, those were my many garments from this month. This was one of the first months that I actually finished 2 garments, and I am very happy with that. I'm very excited. This gave me a lot of knitting energy, and I hope in the next month I can bring some other things that I will be finishing. And yes, if you want to see a little bit more of the process, I post a little bit more on Instagram. I'm there at Evening Makes also, so I will link down below, and you can check my progress and you can connect with me. And I would thank you all for joining me and to staying tuned here, and I hope I can see you in the next one. Bye!